Hello. This is going to be a very tough video for me to make because it's so embarrassing. So I'll start with a quote. I believe it was Johnson, but I'm not sure. I mean Dr. Johnson, not Boris, who said, "Never ask a man if he's from Yorkshire. If he is, he'll tell you soon enough. And if he isn't, well, there's no need to embarrass him." Yorkshire people have always had a reputation of being tough, brave, and forthright. And maybe it's because I'm from Yorkshire that I make YouTube videos of the type that I do. I'm going to be talking about Muslims now, so I am talking because I want to, not because this is going to make me money, because I don't monetize videos on this sort of subject. YouTube wouldn't stand for that anyway. So, oh yeah, well, I might as well tell you now then that I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I am also on Twitter, Gab and Parler, where I am at Granniopteryx. It's on those platforms. I'll let you know when I've uploaded a new video. Sometimes YouTube's a bit careless about that. Also, another thing YouTube is careless about is subscriptions. So if you are subscribed to me on YouTube, check that you still are. You might not be. And seeing as I said, this video will not be monetized, then the best thing you can do for me in that case is to like this video, to share it, and to make sure as many people as possible get to see it. You can help me financially, but really the sharing is the best. And if you want to help me financially, links in the description. Just a minute, there's somebody at the door. Nothing for me, but my husband never answers the door anyway. It was the postman. Okay, where was I? Yep. We're in Yorkshire, the home of the forthright and the free and the brave. And we've got this. A British schoolboy has been suspended and threatened for committing blasphemy. What century is this? This is in an online magazine called Spiked, but it's all over the papers here in the United Kingdom. So if you're in Australia or America, you'll be able to find more news about this anywhere, more or less. Time was, being a liberal meant spending a lot of your time agitating against religious hardliners. Not anymore, it seems. If the silence over the goings-on at Kettlethorpe High School in Wakefield is anything to go by. There was another incident at a school fairly recently where a teacher was doing a class on free speech, showed a cartoon of Muhammad and got a mob outside the school, threatening his life, his family's life. I believe he's still in hiding. And the silence is just as loud over that as it is for this. Or just as loud for this as it was for that. Because the Liberals like their quiet life. But it's not only the Liberals. There's a policeman here at this table, colluding with the mob. Don't know what a Sikh is doing there, but just look at that woman there. She is the mother of the autistic boy who has been blamed for committing blasphemy. Look at how she's sitting. She's wearing a headscarf. Look at those stooped shoulders and the hands together. A fear position, a submission position. And there's a crowd of people in front of her, all glorying in this. Drunk with fury. by the looks of things, some of whom have been issuing death threats against her autistic teenage son. People without a scrap of human sympathy in them. And okay, I'm not saying that everyone in the audience was issuing death threats, but they're all sitting there. They're all giving support to this sort of activity. Here's what happened according to a local imam, a Wakefield councillor, the school's head teacher and a policeman. I'm assuming that's 4 different people and not all one at the same time. They all addressed a meeting at a local mosque on Friday night. Oh, they had to go to the mosque on Friday night. Oh, yeah, they had to make this pilgrimage of penitence to the mosque. It wasn't like they were at the town hall and the congregation, the Muslim congregation came to a meeting there. No, they had to go to the mosque to apologise. I am so embarrassed. I'm really having to force myself to make this video because it's something I'd rather not think about, frankly. Oh, and yeah, he says all of whom should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves. Last Wednesday, a student who happens to be autistic reportedly brought a copy of the Koran into the school on a dare. That was his forfeit for losing a game of Call of Duty with his mates. On the school tennis court, they read aloud from it, then walked back inside the school. Okay? Where another kid knocked it out of their hands and onto the floor. For this, the 4 students were suspended. They were suspended from the school. That should teach them a lesson. Be very respectful of the Muslims who apparently are your bosses. The police were then called in. No, this wasn't stealing, this wasn't beating up, this wasn't being aggressive to teachers or anything. No, they dropped a book. Now, okay, if that were a special copy of the Koran that had been handwritten and they'd stolen it from a library or something, that is a time to talk to the police. Not for this. For young teenage boys arsing about. At the meeting on Friday, a policeman introduced as Chief Inspector Andy Thornton, a top ranker, and I did say ranker, but I didn't actually mean that, confirmed that the students' treatment of the book has been recorded as a hate incident. So it's on their record now. I had to choose a decent place to punch this desk because it's not very strong. This bloody hate law is the most disgusting thing in British legislative history. And the police are logging it as a hate incident, despite the fact that the school itself has ruled that the students had no malicious intent. They were arsing about. Right, that's bad enough. It says here, unbelievably, it gets worse. While rumours swirled that the book had been burnt and spat on, that's typical. There's a case not too long ago where a woman incurred the displeasure of her boss. He put out that she'd burnt a Koran or something. She hadn't done any such thing. A mob, this was in Pakistan, a mob attacked her and ripped her apart and set her on fire. Well, they pulled her, they pulled her clothes off and then they poured kerosene on her and set her on fire, something like that. It's so easy to get a Muslim mob, and you just do a couple of tweaks to the story, and you've got a bunch of seething fury. Why is this happening? I'm talking to Muslims who might be watching this. Why are you not ashamed at your own gullibility? In truth, it was barely damaged. Yeah, apparently it was dropped, so during the scuffle, somebody stood on it or something. Yeah, not nice, but that happens to books all the time, and it didn't happen with malicious intent. And you should be a bit more robust about that. Well, yeah. Talking to the choir here, aren't I? Preaching to the choir is the expression. And so the boy began to receive death threats, which, unlike disrespecting holy books, are actually a criminal matter in the United Kingdom. But the students who issued those threats are off the hook. Akef Akbar, a councillor for Wakefield East, made this clear at the Friday meeting. Sat next to the mother of the autistic student. So I'm assuming it's this guy here with the microphone. Oh, his moment of power. To her credit, Akbar said, she understands the situation and has advised the police that she does not want any of these children to be prosecuted, and she only asks that her son is not harmed. Oh, you Muslims, please don't hurt my son, and I won't bring the law down on you, even though you've broken it. And here, look, to show how sorry I am, I'm hunching my shoulders and I'm wearing a headscarf. And the policeman sat there at the table and watched this pantomime and didn't do nothing. He's absolutely petrified, the mother, who is unnamed, told the meeting, but I don't want anybody to be prosecuted because of the stupidity of my son and his friends. They weren't being stupid. They were just being teenage boys. The stupidity is from that Muslim mob. But it's a vicious stupidity. And obviously everybody is frightened of them, and they apparently love it. Oh, he says this is chilling. Yeah, I find it chilling too. Actually, I don't know whether you could say I'm finding it chilling. I'm not cold now. I'm boiling in fury. I'm boiling that my countrymen are doing this to themselves. I'm boiling in fury that a mob of people who are seeing an opportunity for a little bit of power are taking that opportunity in a country of which they are citizens. I'm boiling in fury at groups of people harassing an autistic teenage boy. You should be ashamed of yourselves, not just the Muslims, the police, the school. Everybody are the way this situation is. Each one of you, the people drunk on power and the people craven, the cowards who will allow this to happen because it's disconcerting their lives a little bit. Actually, as my regular viewers know, I'm not generally lost for words, but I am finding trouble in accessing a vocabulary to describe how I feel about this. This mother was effectively begging for her son's safety, while the school and police were apparently more concerned about protecting religious bigots' hurt feelings. I don't think their feelings were hurt, though. This was an opportunity. They are bigots, and they were using their bigotry to gain some foothold, make themselves feel important and strong. Yeah, they can embarrass a whole bunch of people. Probably, I'm making an assumption here, but I'm assuming that most of the Muslims were brown and most of the people they were shouting at were white. And this was an opportunity. Yeah, it's happening all over, isn't it? It may be different reasons in America or Australia, but it's happening. Or New Zealand, there's stuff going on there, isn't there? Indeed, the response of the school and police runs the risk of contributing to the threat posed to these boys by suspending those students and logging their behaviour as a hate incident. The school and police are effectively saying that the mob has a point. Well, as I said right that right at the beginning, colluding with the mob. Oh, here it is, Batley Grammar School, where in 2021 a teacher was forced into hiding after he showed a cartoon of Muhammad in his religious studies class. That's 10 miles from Kettlethorpe, according to this. And then, of course, there's Samuel Paty in France. And then there's this poor guy, Assad Shah. He's an Ahmadiyya Muslim. I keep saying the Ahmadiyyas are reasonable Muslims, and look what happens to them. He disrespected Islam because he wished his customers happy Easter. And somebody went and stabbed him to death. Here's the thing, the more we capitulate to religious bigotry, the more we inflame it. That's a statement of the bleeding obvious, isn't it? If Britain wants to be a liberal, democratic and harmonious country, we cannot have a situation where a religion, any religion, is force-fielded from criticism. Oh, that's a nice expression, I'll have to remember that. Where teachers or students or anyone else is intimidated and punished for defying religious diktat. Giving in to this intolerance will only sustain, not diffuse. Encourage is the word. Encourage. When you have a group who knows that they can make a mob and terrorise the neighbourhood, and if nobody gets back to them, if nobody pushes back, and they'll just carry on doing it, even worse, they will do it worse, because people will do what they can get away with. Remember here, he mentions the Shia film, which was pulled from UK cinemas because the Sunnis didn't like the Shia version of early Islamic history. This shameful episode in Wakefield should be a wake-up call. Oh, goodness me. We have been making, or I've been making wake-up calls for 3-4 years now. That's as long as I've been making YouTube videos. We must face down the religious intolerance that has been curdling in our midst. Right now, we are enabling it. Yep, he's right. And I am embarrassed. I'm always apologising to people. I am so sorry to myself for what we have become. Right, well, yeah, I just had to talk about that. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.